I need to figure out how to pin Christoph's screen here.
Hey everyone, it is the 21st of March 2023. We're on a call. It's the Bitcoin design community, and this is a call with the wallet scrutiny team. Today's focus is going to be the homepage design. This is a project that's in collaboration with the Bitcoin design community, and we've been redesigning their website. I will now hand it over to Christoph.
All right, so I'm just looking here at the Figma file here in my background, and on the left we have a bunch of different pages. And regarding the homepage specifically, there were some explorations over the last 4 months or so that were done in a very unorganized way, some visuals, some copy, some layout. And so for this call, I just try to put it all into a single page, put a little bit of structure in it. Do I have a screenshot here of the actual current look of the home page? Screenshots for comments. Yeah. So we basically had a bunch of comments on things. Some stuff really straightforward, like putting the list of wallets further up the page so people don't have to scroll as much. And so some of the explorations we did was just trying to figure out what this wallet grid should look like, which seems like pretty central piece. You're here to find wallets and see what their review status is. But this example here is there's a lot of UI here, a lot of text, a bit overwhelming. This one here collapses all of your filter options at the top, a little bit simpler. Here are some copy explorations. And then we had these goofy header explorations, which were very popular. And then I created another one, this design here, where I was really just trying to step really far away from the current design and just kind of throw something different out there for some conversations, but also try to figure out how we could simplify things like this, the filter options further, and also this display of how well these wallets did in the different tests. So we have a bunch of different materials here. We have a bunch of topics to talk about, different areas. And for the final one, maybe something's in here, for maybe nothing's in here. I guess something that we could distinguish between is the information architecture versus branding. Because I don't know if you want to do both at the same time. Just improving the homepage without touching any styling, just reordering things, changing copy, changing how the filters work in the wallet grid. That could be done without touching any visual styling, and that could be a separate project. And sometimes it's very good to distinguish between the two.
Yeah.
So we don't do too much. And especially if there's a bigger rebranding, then that also affects a lot of other subpages.
I think the information architecture is very relevant because you have a couple of, links out on that main homepage. So it is pretty relevant.
Yeah. Should we just start from the very top? I know, Carp, you just mentioned that you would like to do some more copy explorations.
Yeah, and I mean, it looks well like the previous iteration of this site. At least from what I saw, it had like 6,000 words of copy roughly. And it's looking like in this redesign, we're going to have an awful lot fewer words than 6,000. So some of this is fair. This isn't going to be a huge ask, I don't think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Although I did have a beautiful pairing of a headline and a subhead you showed a little while ago, which I had forgotten, but nonetheless... yeah, that's it.
There we go.
So this one, so in this homepage, in this design here, and this is really also this is something that we really need the wallet scrutiny crew to weigh in on. So know your wallet like you built it. I feel like that speaks to the user. Mm-hmm. Not everyone's a developer, and everyone has to be. So, and then I put the security starts with scrutiny further down. And maybe this doesn't have to be there, But that is more the users. This is the top level thing that you want them to know, so they understand what the site's about and how to relate to it. Then we give them the meat of which are the wallet reviews. And then this is a little bit more background information. Security starts with scrutiny. I mean, that's this great validation for everything that's in the methodology, this multi-step process that is very thorough and very rigid. So this is a little bit more, I thought this headline is a little bit better for this background deep dive information. And then, the methodology then links to the multi-thousand page.
Yeah.
What was that? What was that Bitcoin show that looked like the Muppet Show? What was that?
I made up the description text here, so that's Blockchain Summit. I don't know. That's from the website.
Okay, I was just curious because I got a taste of the Muppet Show there, and I was like, oh damn.
It is Dutch, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, well, I did. Bitcoin, yeah, I don't know. Anyways, I just saying it made me think of Muppets, which made me happy.
Yeah, but that's also great to have if someone wants to really dive deeper. Maybe there's one podcast that introduces the project as a whole. Maybe there's another podcast that dives really deep into the methodology or something else. So I think that's a great way to also tell the story.
I think we have a document. I think I somewhere came up with information architecture suggestions, but I don't know if I think it was pretty much the same. I think the only thing we added in was maybe like an about page. I'm trying to find this here.
Yeah. So I think an about page would be good for all of the other podcasts in different languages.
Yeah.
For the downloads per category, or they're basically statistics about that huge archive of reviews and wallets. I think there's a lot of good extra material for the about page.
Sorry, I'm just trying to find it. No, I cannot find that document. In terms of the pages on the website, what are you guys thinking might be some good pages to have in terms of that main page?
I don't think that's a me question.
Here's basically what I think. There might code of conduct for the expert opinions. On the website itself right now, there's a blog, which I don't know how much that's. Why we need layer 2. There's one blog entry from September. Donate page, dedicated page. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think that's it as well.
Not export, that's expert. Content. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you're going to have a blog, you're going to need to have somebody just dedicated to churning out content there. And that, to be fair, given the public relation issues, I think that Wallet Scrutiny has, not through no fault of its own, having a blog that lets them discuss everything and in real time, it gives them it creates a conversation with the Bitcoin community that isn't completely generated by the Bitcoin community.
Yep.
I think it also creates trust as well, that everything is just open and transparent, and gives that
100%.
human feel as well. Like, here, we're here, you can reach out to us. This is what we're working on. So I do like the blog idea, but the question is there enough content? Yeah.
Weirdly, I mean, this is the kind of project where you're always adding things and updating things and giving justifications and responding to the community. I'm sure Leo could, I always want to say Leo, could probably think of something for that blog. I think he's fairly opinionated, and he uses his personal Twitter account often where he could be using like the company blog to make it like more official than him having to have arguments on Twitter with people.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, wallet scrutiny is also not the opinion of one person, or it's never perceived that way.
Right,
So
and I
it's
don't
its
think
own
it should be. I think
objective
it should
thing,
be like a team effort. But like I said, Leo's, at least from what I've seen, tends to be the one who's most out in front and taking the criticisms of wallet scrutiny as criticisms of himself. Whereas if it comes from the institution itself, it's probably better and more official than like one person who people can, you know, just tie to whatever. You get what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so Ken, you were asking, you have access, edit access now. I wanted to double check with you. What is an ideal process for you? Should I really set up every single page that will exist on the website in Figma, and then you just go in and edit text? Or
That's probably ideal. Usually, whenever I'm in a Figma document, usually there's like 15 links off to the left side, which I'm sure there are right now, that are for your reference. But if there was just one that was for my reference, that was here's this page, here's this page, here's this page, here's this page, here's this page. This is what we need copy for. Just go in and give it your best shot. Something that's easy for me to find is ideal. And yeah, one document would be much less confusing than all of the other iterations that we have and all the other screens or whatever Figma calls them.
pages, yeah.
Pages, yeah.
Yeah, something that I like to do is separate between workspaces and spec pages. So a spec page is like we have for the wallet page. These are final designs. This is done. And, you know, this is what's implemented. And then have individual workspace pages. So Christoph's workspace, Ken's workspace, Mo's workspace. And in there you can do whatever you want. And you can get a copy of every single page and mess with it.
That is, yeah.
I have an idea. So would you like to edit in Figma, or do you prefer editing in Google Documents? What's your ideal way of working?
So the way this project used to be set up, it was much more, I think, when we were still thinking 6,000 words, there was no way in hell 6,000 words were ever going to work in Figma. But based on the current designs, I would say working in Figma is probably just as easy for me. And then it puts everything in context for you guys as well.
Okay. Because we have the methodology page, and then we have the code of conduct expert opinions. So we have those two pieces of content at the moment. Would we just copy that content straight in, or would it be better just to write from scratch?
Definitely copy it straight in, because I've said before, I don't have like a full understanding of wallet scrutiny. I don't have the technical expertise. I don't understand I may not understand, but I don't have the philosophy of it internalized. So a lot of the times with copywriting, like the best thing I can get is just like what you currently have, and based on that, I can trim things down, sharpen them where necessary. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think I have a question here to add. So the methodology page is 5,800 words. So that is the big one. And I'm wondering, do you expect to actually work on all of this stuff, or do you think it's more of a thing where you give feedback on, let's say, the introduction or so? Because some of the, like in the methodology, it's intentionally very, it has to be very precise and to a certain point also kind of technical. If you explain how reproducibility is being tested, you're just going to have to get into the weeds at a certain point.
Okay, so maybe the methodology page I can do in a Google Doc then.
Okay.
Can you put like a couple asterisks next to the methodology just so I have a. But look, something I'm very good at is like, I'm like, I don't know how I am. I'll leave it for other people to say how I am as a copywriter, but as an editor, I'm very strong. And I have a lot of experience in taking large technical documents and reducing them into much simpler copywriting language. We won't expect most people to read 5,800 words, but if I could chop it down to 1,000, I bet we could get people to read it.
Yeah.
Or less than 1,000.
Christoph, you really simplified, I think, the methodology with your designs by, showing that these are the steps that are conducted.
So but that's different.
Yeah.
In the wallet overview page, you get a summary of the methodology. The methodology page has really everything that you ever may want to know. And I don't think the methodology page is someone where, I mean, some people will go there, read it from top to bottom, but I think it's more of a situation where, let's say you look at a certain wallet and they fail some particular test, and it tells you on the wallet page, shows you in 3 sentences why this test failed. And then
Yeah.
you click through and then you read, those X hundred words with that paragraph, how it was tested. So because you just kind of want to know, you like the wallet maybe, and you just want to know why this is so problematic. So it's more of a little bit more of a glossary maybe in a way.
It is. Do you think it's at all possible to use the headings that you already came up with in some way in the methodology page?
I mean, ideally the language is consistent across
Yeah,
everything.
that's what I'm thinking as well. So
Yeah.
maybe I can somehow in that Google document put the headings that you've already used as ideas for Ken to maybe work with, and then use the current headings and see how somehow those two can come together.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I can set up pages in Figma for all of this stuff to give us the big overview of all these things.
Yeah.
I do think that the methodology page, that's almost its own project. So we have homepage, it's kind of its own thing. Maybe that ties into the about page a little bit, because you're gonna link to the about page for people who want to know, and the about page should continue some of the things that were hinted at about the project. And then methodology is almost something that's more connected to the wallet page itself than those general project pages, I guess.
That's going to be an interesting one to tackle, the methodology page. So, I was trying to ideate on how you can keep it simple, because it's, as you said, it's a little monster on its own. It's
Yeah, but it's not meant to be simple.
yeah,
You have to embrace it for what its purpose is.
it's a good challenge. It's a good challenge.
I'm excited. Hey, Christoph, just when you put the page on the left side where all the other pages are for me, just write like "can click here" or something. Ah, shit! I just doxed myself, but whatever.
Okay. Whatever. Yeah, and it's in the file. So when when I was working on this simpler page here, by the way, the dog now came in here as in form of the logo. So I just threw that in. It doesn't have to be the dog. It can be the.
It looks like the dog is crying.
Yeah. To me, I have to think of Batman all the time. I see it.
I really like the dog, because dogs for me symbolize, I don't know if this is a South African thing, but dogs symbolize security, because in South Africa we would have a dog because the dog guards the house. So it is pretty symbolic. I don't know if anyone else makes that sort of connection, but my brain did.
Yeah, that was the idea.
I think it's a good one. I'd be curious what the rest of the team thinks.
Yeah. And then this other thing here. So I moved the search box here right next to, this is the functional part. We have 4 big wallet things. I can very clearly see their logos. I can directly search and filter. It tells me I'm searching 4,000 wallet reviews. Ideally, as I type, the list below updates. Right now on the website, the search bar, when I type something in, I get this drop down with a list of wallets. And then further down, I have the grid of wallets. So it might be easier if we just make that the same thing. And then on the right there, I looked at this whole list of options here. And I was wondering if we can just condense that to 2. So independent of the color here and font that I changed, just looking at the functionality. So I want to pick my operating system. This could be toggles. You just click an iOS symbol, could be that too. Or maybe you want to select multiple. And then tests pass, so that ties into all the copy down here. So these wallets, it does not, in all the design, it tells you what the features were. It used the color indicators to say when something's good or bad. So it is now fairly neutral. It just tells you how many tests it passed. And in this language, I was trying to somehow also convey that the tests are sequential. So you do the first one, you do the second one, you do the third one, and then you stop if it doesn't work. So, like there's no situation where I pass tests 1, 2, and 7. That doesn't exist. And ideally, that gets communicated here somehow. So the more boxes are filled here, the better, of course. And then in all 10 tests passed, maybe there's something where you can say, at least 7 or so, right? Where it's like in other websites you have, I want to see hotels that have at least 3 stars or something. And then separate special treatments for some of these indicators like vaporware or not updated in a long time that really should stand out. But that's just text here. Yeah, so I was just trying to take a different approach to this grid here. And I threw in color too for fun.
This new approach is absolutely brilliant, in my opinion, because it matches the traditional review websites, which people are really familiar with. They're used to seeing, the stars. So we're kind of using that concept, but we're not using that concept at the same time, because this is talking about tests. So it's keeping things really neutral, and it's just showing 3 out of 10 tests passed. Visually, for a user, I think this is going to be absolutely brilliant. I'm really keen on this idea because that was something that the users struggled with. They didn't know which one to choose. And I think, that being the goal of the website, for people to be able to make decisions quickly, would be, this is absolutely brilliant. And it feels fun. It feels playful. I really like it. I really like this design.
Full disclaimer, I paid Mo 5,000 sats earlier to make all these positive comments. Not mention anything negative. That's how it works.
Do we have a concern that people are going to wonder whether or not we actually performed all 10 tests, and that's the reason why it only got 1 out of 3?
That is the detail around this language, right? That is the tricky bit.
Yeah, because I when I read the 5 dots, I hear pass tests 1 through 5 out of 10. How do I know that all 10 were performed? Like, it's almost like you have to say, like, passed 5, failed 5.
Well, it didn't. Like, you stop when one test fails, you stop. It stops.
They stop. Yep, they absolutely stop when the test fails.
Yeah. It's like in a video game. If you get stuck at level 5 out of 10, well, you're not going to play level 7.
Yeah.
You have to make it to level 5.
Okay, so there are like 10 in sequence.
Yeah.
10. I may have made up that number 10, but I think, yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say 10 sounded like a lot.
Yeah, I mean that is a direct reference to the to this. Like developer is a test, custody is a test, source code is a test, privacy is a test. Each one of those things is one thing aspect that is being tested.
And you know what other problem this design solves is it solves the problem of the website being accessible to people who are not of a really super high technical level. Just an everyday person can hop on, really understand sort of high level overview and then click in and go and get their own information. And I really like that because it's more accessible for a larger audience. So not just the person who's a developer or really technical person.
And yeah, there's just no way from this grid that someone will exactly know what those tests mean. They're going to have to click through, see that wallet summary page, see all these steps, and kind of figure out like, oh, okay, now I understand. They looked at who the developer is and their practices. They looked at whether the source code's available. They try to figure out if they can reproduce that binary and all of this stuff. It's just not possible to fit that into this box, which I try to with these previous designs here to add in that detail. But it just gets incredibly dense, and I don't know if this is actually, an expert will understand what all this stuff means.
No, that's not accessible it's less accessible for the everyday person. Yeah. And also having the word outdated review, I remember that from the usability test as well. People were like, "Oh, this is outdated. Can I trust that?" It's like this. It's a bit contradictory somehow.
But this is the type of website where you just can't make it super simple. There is just an inherent level of complexity that we can tame and simplify, but at some point, a few clicks in, if someone really looks at a wallet, they're going to encounter a few things that they might be unfamiliar with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there any other thoughts? We have Tanishka and Yash on the call. Feel free to speak. These calls are completely open to you guys. So if you have any comments or you'd like to say anything, feel free.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, feel free to unmic and unmute or raise your hand if you'd just like to speak. More than welcome to.
Observing your amazing design and the aspects that Nan was saying about the test and the stuff that you added.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that about the tests?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, yeah.
Yeah, we were just thinking about like how amazing that idea was to add that test part. It's just that you wrote a past test 1 to 3, so you could have wrote only 3 of 10, right? Like it's is it important? Like I'm just curious. Okay.
That was intentional, because it's not a situation where where a wallet can pass tests, 2, 7, and 9. It always has to start from the beginning. It's always 1, 2, 3, and then if you fail one, you're not continuing. So it
Yeah,
was
it will always
intentional.
start from the first, but you can just write a 3 of 10, and it will start from the first.
Yeah.
Like the dots will always start from the first, but when you are writing past tests 1 to 3 of 10, you can just write 3 of 10.
Yeah, that's also. I think that's something that would be good to get feedback on. I wasn't sure on that one. I tried to be very explicit, maybe too much, but yeah, maybe that can be simplified. Yeah.
Wait, are we saying that like past tests 1 of 3 of 10? Are we saying past 3 of 10 tests? Is that what we're discussing?
Yes.
Simple. It's probably simpler language to say passed 3 of 10 tests.
Yeah.
And what do you guys think of the two designs?
Hello.
Sorry, Yash, Yash, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, when you were talking about the blogs part, about the public reaching and about explaining the concept of the wallet scrutiny to the public, I was thinking that maybe alongside blogs, there could be something like a discussion forum or a user forum for people to interact with regarding different wallets, what they feel are the pros and cons, and what are appropriate trade-offs. Like some wallet might have 5 out of 10, and another wallet might also have like 4 out, some other 5 tests passed, or are the test order always same for all the wallets? So things like this could be discussed between people, and they might not be sure what a particular test means. So for things like that, maybe a discussion forum can help.
Yes, and you'll be excited to hear that there's a feature called expert opinions, or comments, in a way, community opinions here, and that's where people can leave their own reviews. So the reviews at the top of the wallet page, they're always done by kind of the core wallet scrutiny team, who dedicate a lot of time and energy to this. And then there's this community comment feature, where people can discuss and individual aspects that they personally find important, or they can debate each other's opinions. So that will be happen in kind of the lower part of each wallet's page. And I think that's being built out right now. I need to check in on the status of that.
Thank you.
What are you guys' thoughts on the two different designs of how the wallets are shown? One has sort of a bit of color to it, and the other one is quite neutral with just black and white. Are there any thoughts on those two different design solutions?
Say that last part again, Mo.
Yeah, there, Christoph's pulling it up in front of his screen. So he has this version, which is it's a bit more fun. It's kind of taking the color from the individual wallets, and then he has another one which is a bit more neutral.
Oh no, definitely go with the other one.
Yeah, I'm for the other one as well. Yeah,
You like the color?
I love.
Although I wonder if this is going to sound really stupid. I wonder if the color biases people. Like they see green and they think traffic light, and green makes them think go. Yellow makes them make pause. Blue makes them go, what kind of fucking traffic light is that?
Yeah, could be.
I guess light background with those green or yellow color doesn't create that much hinder while taking decision for user.
Yeah.
If that color would be very strong, then in that case it may cause that issue. But for light background, it really helps them to keep engaged in them.
You think it's subtle enough that it will not confuse people?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it would require the wallet scrutiny team to also pick a color for every single wallet for all 4,000. So
I don't know how that works on the development side. If there's some auto color matching thing that they could type in that matches, so that's up to Ed. I don't know.
there are tools that analyze image color palettes and pull out the most prominent colors.
Oh well, easily done.
I don't know if it's that easy, but it is possible. Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, but this would definitely be good to get the team's feedback on. Yeah, because Mo, I think you mentioned from the last call there was a interest in keeping things very neutral.
Yeah.
So this is the opposite of that.
I'll just make a note here. Team's feedback on the, I would say the logo, so just the dog, the menu, and then the individual wallet um, designs. He's so cool, the dog. It's like Batman meets dog,
Yeah,
right? Batman meets dog.
exactly.
Uh, it is very funny to me that he looks like he's crying. Like he's got those streams coming down out of his eyes. Perfect.
Amazing. Logo's done. There's some serious tears here. Okay, cool. It does not feel like we have a ton of stuff to talk about right now. Is there anything important you want to go to? Otherwise, we can also wrap up and talk about next steps.
I love wrapping up and talking about next steps.
Cool. All right. So let's make a list here real quick. Christoph to recreate all pages of the site in Figma in an orderly fashion and set up a workspace for Carp. Passion.
Yeah, Carp, who's outed himself 8 times during this meeting.
Well, we have bad memory, so you're in luck.
And not worse than mine. God, I'm cursed, man. I have the worst fucking memory.
Leo and team to give feedback. And I think this new visual direction, I wouldn't take it too serious. I would just I think it's between the big one with the dog image, the rendering, what we have right now on the site, this other one. They're good discussions. It's good discussion material. So maybe there's some direction, give feedback on the visual direction of things. I think it would be good if we can figure out this wallet grid UI, wallet grid and search UI for the homepage, independent of the visual treatment.
The copy for the methodology page, maybe that
Yeah.
one as well.
Methodology page copy. So maybe this is a thing where I'll try to recreate it in a Figma page and we take it from there. Maybe it's possible to just work on it there. Maybe that's too much. I'm not sure. But I think this might be a thing where Carp it might be, once I have set up all the pages, it might just be good for him to just look over everything, get it in your head, see where things are. And maybe you'll be okay with Figma. Maybe you decide you want to go to some.
Yeah, well, if I even make, so let's say you create a Figma file for me, an element, and it has the full 6,000 words in it. It's going to be a very long page, but even if I was editing it, it wouldn't automatically adjust itself, right? To be a smaller page as I cut copy.
No, it would. I set up everything with auto layout, so the layout automatically just adjusts as you edit text.
Cool, that works.
Is it an idea to maybe ask the team for their pictures for the about page? Then we kind of have some stuff already for the about page. Or should we just focus on methodology and home for now?
Let me just take a look at the About page real quick. About page is proud to be sponsored by, as featured on, most recent reviews or updates. So there's actually nothing. There is no About page.
Yeah,
There's
it doesn't
no
exist. Yeah.
well, I guess in the as featured on in all those podcasts, there's a ton of information there, but there's nothing written where this project was created by so and so because he saw the need for this and there's all these security issues, and that's why it's really important. We have this and that, so help us. And today we're like 12 people, we're doing all this and that. That type of stuff doesn't exist. So I don't know if we need faces of people
Mm-hmm.
in this world that we maneuver in.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, other general copy, project related copy might be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing with faces is also, if you do want a lot of people to contribute to this, then you kind of have to pick and choose who makes it on the page and who doesn't. And some people are private or pseudonymous and other stuff.
Hasn't stopped us at Spiral. We got a ton of
You know,
super.
I don't know. I'm not quite sure if it would fit in. Because the team was kind of okay with having their faces, but Leo mentioned three names who he said,
Yeah.
well, these are like the main contributors, they can go on. But then, coming along with the whole security and privacy issue is how could we make those faces almost comical and fun? And then if we do that, does it then fit in with the overall feel of the website?
I mean, I would just leave it up to them. I would make it very simple. Here are the key people that work on this project.
Yeah.
Let them share whatever they want to share. If it's their internet name, or if they're pseudonymous, then and it's some random image that they found or created, then that's fine. I don't. Yeah, I think the team can just probably really knows what they want to do there, and they can just let us know. And it's an about page. Usually it's very straightforward.
Mm.
Yeah, and I don't know if we can actually write that copy. If it's a little bit, I don't know, Carp, if you can create a framework for that, what typically goes on those pages. But as far as background goes and current state and maybe future ideas or so, maybe that's up to the team to fill in. Or maybe at least to provide bullet points and raw material that you can then work with. Yeah, I don't know, how do you want to go about that?
It's a good idea, I think, indeed, to get some bare bone structure of the about page. So I'm all ears, Carp, in terms of what are some good headings on the about page.
Sure.
Yeah.
I can probably figure them out. I mean, an about page is usually like the simplest fucking page on the whole website.
Yeah, if you have stuff you can write there, that's awesome. But to really give a bit of background, then the team just has to chip in.
One nice thing about it is that it can humanize the project.
Yeah.
It puts faces to puts faces to this organization that some people are skeptical of.
Mm-hmm.
So you could have like individuals named, and you could add like quirky info about all of them. Then again, this project might also want to be a monolith, and so it would be like having an about page on like the main Google search page or something like that. Like there's two ways to see it.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Cool. So we have a few sub projects here. As far as the homepage goes, I feel like something that I should do is create two versions of the homepage for the time being, one with whatever future style and one with current style, simply for development purposes.
Cool.
So we could work step by step towards the glorious future, and there's not this huge thing hanging there. And we might want to do the same with methodology and about pages, just very strictly separate text changes from visual changes.
Is there any research that I could do with the About page? Maybe look at a couple open source projects and see how they're introducing the team on the About page. See what kind of headings they're using, how they're, main headings, what kind of content they're putting there. Um,
Yeah, Carp, what do you think? I mean, you two, certainly, I'm going to stay out of about page copy. I'll focus on the other visual homepage and structural things there. But yeah, if you want to collaborate on that, that'd be cool.
In a way, the methodology page is kind of an about page.
In which way?
Well, in one of them, you're describing sort of your, I guess, your philosophy for approaching, for scrutinizing these projects, and then in the other one, you're talking about yourselves and your backgrounds. I don't personally see them as being all that different. It depends on. I mean, it depends on how out there the people who will appear on this about page want to be. About pages are usually, like I said, pretty simple, so that would be the easiest thing on here to write, I would imagine, as long as I had details on the individuals.
Yeah, I think it might be best if you create a content outline for there, and then ask specific questions to the team. Can you give me this? Can you give me that? Can you give me that? And then they'll provide it, and then you just put it all together.
Yeah, sure. If you want to add a note in my the page for me to think about like a content outline, that would be good. It's probably just going to be headline, subhead, single paragraph of body copy, or maybe two, and then it's going to be person, 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 and then footer.
links to media, maybe. No?
Yeah, I mean, maybe. Do they get a lot of media currently?
Yeah, look at the currently it is on the about page. There are 13 podcasts linked to.
Oh, sure.
And
Then,
YouTube videos. But what's missing with those is that there's no explanation. What ideally you have a quick summary that says this podcast episode talks about the project itself. This one is in-depth reviews of 3 wallets. Like a little bit of detail that you know how to choose which one to listen to. That's a bit missing there right now.
Sure, I'll think about it. I'll how to incorporate it.
Okay, cool. Sweet. Anything else? Ed, if you wanted to write anything or so, or the others, if there's anything you'd like to chime in on or so, you're also welcome to design stuff, help out, leave comments in Figma, anything else.
Cool. I got to hop on another meeting in a couple of minutes here, so if there's anything anybody has at the ideas at the end here.
Yeah.
Sounds good, Ed.
Feels weird not to have Leo in this.
Yeah. Nice to meet you too, Tanishka.
Yeah. Okay, then let's wrap it up. Thank you.
Cool.
It was helpful to talk through all of this stuff, and I'm glad we have some good next steps.
We've got a whole bunch of to-dos. So it'll be fine.
That'll be amazing.
All right.
I like that optimism.
Exactly. Okay, cool. Thank you all.
Cheers, guys.
Make sure to stop the recording first before you log off.